Welcome to ControlTalk NOW, your smart buildings podcast with Ken Smyers and Eric Stromquist. ControlTalk NOW, your source for control news you can use. And now, here is Eric.
All right, welcome to ControlTalk NOW, your smart buildings video and podcast with the news of the week for the week ending March 15th, 2015. Some people call that the Ides of March. We know we're getting to St. Patrick's Day, but the one thing for sure is I am joined, as usual, by the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Kenny Smyers from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kenny, great to have you back on the show, big dog. We're both in the studio. Life is good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. I'm glad to be sitting back in a more familiar environment with things. The equipment's kind of dependable and our connection's good. Yeah. So we should have a much better transmission this week. St. Patrick's Day. The top 5 St. Patrick's locations are New York City, Boston, Chicago, Savannah, Georgia, Eric Stromquist.
I've been there on St. Patrick's Day. I don't remember much about it, but I was there.
And Scranton, PA. Well, I love Chicago because I've seen they dye the Chicago River there green, and the people are in their kayaks, and they're very festive mood. I'm on a live site here, and it's really cool. It's good to see everybody.
Well, Chicago, man, they're in the river with as cold as it is, drinking alcohol. Seems like, man, some of those people could fall in that green water and sort of get frozen, huh?
Well, it's 51 degrees there right now. It says,
okay, so that's not that. That's a heat wave for our friends in Chicago.
Sure is.
Well, I tell you, Savannah, man, not only did they dye the river green, they dyed the people green. And I tell you what, man, it's I'm probably a little too old for St. Patrick's Day the way I used to be before. But I know we got some of our peers are probably out having a great time. You see Dave Godfrey from GNO Thermos. Is he down there in one of those things in Chicago?
Well, it looks very, very similar. I bet you Dave's out there somewhere. The biggest show, of course, is Boston. They have over 1 million people in attendance in the parade grounds. And then New York City, I think, is next, with over 250,000 marchers participating before over 1 million spectators. So everybody's celebrating the advent of, here we come with spring. Good stuff.
Well, here we come with spring. And hey, speaking of Boston, a special shout out to our friends John Donahue, CCI, and Jeff Hurwitz from Interstate Electric up there. And I had the pleasure of meeting one of John's DDC guys at the Honeywell meeting a couple weeks ago, Kenny. So a special shout out to Mario and his wife. Super, super nice guy, Kenny. John hires some really great people. And again, as a general rule, our industry has great people, but Mario's wife's expecting a baby here in June, I believe. So special shout out to Mario. We appreciate him. He says he's a ControlTrends listener and ControlTrends fan. So we appreciate you listening. And Kenny, again, just sort of cleaning up last week. You were out of town. We were trying to do the video podcast. We weren't able to get it. Everything was out of sync with the video, so we just did a straight audio podcast last week. And now that we're both back in the studio for a while, big dog, hopefully we'll get it going. And hey, a special thanks to our Rob Allen for our new intro. If you're watching the Videocast, you saw that we have a little bit different intro. That was Rob Allen of 7 Minutes in Control put that together for us. So, Rob, great job. We appreciate it.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, Rob. It just shows some of the more exciting events and times we've had and some of the extraordinary people we've had a chance to interview and meet. So thank you very much.
That's good stuff. So new interview on Rob and Michael Bonner at Stromquist have really taken to, Kenny, the whole video thing. So we've created a studio down in Atlanta. We got more and more vendors coming in and doing live streams, and those guys have really adopted the technology. So look for more great things from ControlTrends and Stromquist. All right, Kenny Smyers, what do you think? Anything to clean up from last week before we get into this week's episode?
Well, yeah, Eric, we had two very important mentions. We have CR Monitor Corporation announced that they were the first router product to be certified as a BACnet Protocol Revision 12. We're very pleased to announce that CR Monitor Corporation has come on as a sponsor, and they've got some great stuff. Please visit the post. We'll be having more posts in the future, but basically, CR Monitor is a provider of industrial Internet of Things solutions that connect and protect high-value infrastructure assets. And they've announced that they're very pleased that they've been certified by the BACnet testing laboratory for having successfully passed the protocol revision 12 router tests. These guys got some great products, and we will be continuing to report on CI Monitor.
Well, we will, Kenny, and on top of that, one of the really cool things about Sierra Monitoring, they reached out to us. They are going to be doing a show that ControlTrends will produce. It'll be a monthly show. They'll be doing all things network and networking. These guys are great experts, so look forward to that. That's coming up in the very near future. These guys are very, very knowledgeable on it, so they will be doing a networking show that we will be producing. So excited about that as well. All right, Big Dog, cool. What do we have up next?
Well, then we roll right into our first post on the Blue Ridge Technologies Unified Lighting Control Experts, and they show you how. And again, I think it's very, very important to embrace the new, the IoT of things, of course, but the digital presentations, and they do a great job. Rob Allen, in fact, reinforces that with another video presentation. But basically, Blue Ridge Technologies is really making inroads with a lot of systems integrators. I know they're going to be coming into our area. I see you guys already have a great relationship with them. I saw Control Consultants up there in Boston. It now has a nice presentation on their website. So we're talking about this zone control and how important lighting is. And it's not easy if you don't do it right. But if you do it right and you work from the base level up and you make sure that you get everything done correctly and really begin to take control of your lighting and realize those savings and important energy efficiency. But Blue Ridge Technology and their unified lighting controls, we have a great post, a link, and some videos. So please visit that.
Well, Kenny, I got to say, and you and I had the opportunity to meet Bill Dunkelberger, the president and CEO of Blue Ridge Technologies, and what an individual he is, Kenny. He was for many, many years with ALC. So one of the things that Bill really brings to the table is he really understands building automation controls and integration. Super guy, straight shooter, very, very knowledgeable. Hey, his products work great, Blue Ridge Technologies. We will be bringing you a lot more from Blue Ridge. Bill has also agreed, Kenny, to come on and do a lighting show, a monthly lighting show, all things lighting. So we will be producing that for Bill as well. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, be sure to check those guys out, BlueRidgeTechnologies.com. Great products, great people. Bill and Blue Ridge are now members of Controls Group North America, which is the association that we're members of. And the newest member of that, by the way, is a company called DMS Controls out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Don't know whether you know those guys or not. We hear good things about them. So what do you think, Big Dog? So all things are getting connected and tied back up again.
Yeah, one thing about Bill, and it's scary when somebody starts out in the warehouse and he works with a company at the ground level and really and truly knows the ins and outs. I'm talking about, nuts and bolts, understands the concepts, the physics, the electrical aspects, the limits, of controls and panels, and then puts that together and sells it for many years, and then takes measures to start his own enterprise. You know for sure that the guy has tested every single limit and parameter and really knows how to deploy it because he's done it for so many years.
Well, he has, Kenny. And of course, the other thing, I just like him. He's a cool guy. He's kind of like a guy's guy, the kind of guy that rides a motorcycle around, no BS, straight shooter. Bill's the type of guy that if he tells you he's going to do something, it's going to be done. And that goes a long way in our industry. You guys know if you're a systems integrator, you're basically, you're taking a risk for the equipment you put in. And if something goes wrong, you want to know that you're dealing with people that will stand behind it. Same thing with the distributors. And Bill's just a stand-up guy, Kenny. So I think our community is really going to like this guy. Can't wait to get him on a show and begin to interview Bill. And again, very knowledgeable guy. So I think he's going to bring a lot to the community in terms of lighting control, different ways to do it. And really looking forward to it, Kenny.
We sure are. And it's a good segue to our next post, which is EasyIO gets ready for next worldwide partner event in Paris. Now, you make some good comments about, how you can mix business and pleasure and do it in such a way that you can really see one of the most incredible events and learn a lot, meet the people that are deploying these products worldwide in a forum where everybody's sharing because it's all open sourced. But EasyIO is really pleased to announce that they're going to have the next worldwide control event in Paris, France, September 21st through the 23rd. And I spoke with Mike via email. It is going to be extraordinary. We're talking possibly lunch at the Eiffel Tower and dinner at Lido's. So
Hey, listen, I talked to Mike. It's not just lunch at the Eiffel Tower, Kenny. It's bungee jumping off the Eiffel Tower. So. No, I'll tell you what, we posted the highlights from Madrid last year, and Kenny and I went to our first EasyIO worldwide conference, and it was spectacular. Look at the video. I mean, these guys, first of all, the knowledge they impart is fantastic. They got some of the sharpest guys in the industry. They got some of the greatest products. But then, Kenny, we met integrators from around the world, and that is just worth its weight in gold. And on top of that, Kenny, to see Madrid, you can see in the video some of the stuff they took us to do in Madrid. We went to Real Madrid, the soccer stadium. They took us to play golf. The hotel we were staying at, it was Fashion Week in Madrid. They had us stay in a hotel with all the models that were there, some of the most beautiful girls in the world that were there. So you go down to breakfast and you're sitting next to all these fashion models. And I've got some video footage of that I might share later on, but
well, it looked like an aviary. It looked like little birdies eating. Their portions were so minute, and yet they were.
Hey, don't spoil the illusion, buddy. Don't spoil the illusion. It was great. So September Fashion Week will probably still be going on, but now we'll get to do Fashion Week in Paris, which could be really, really cool. But yeah, I think the takeaway for me, Kenny, is that first of all, it's a great product. Keep taking Mad Mike Marston, Lim, Johan, all the people, the integrators from around the world. I think all the friends we made, man. Tommy from Norway. Think about all our friends in India. Special shout out to those guys. We really love meeting you guys. And hey, by the way, we're supposed to be doing a show with you, so reach out to me and Kenny because we miss you guys. South Africa, Europe. Just really, really cool people, and they'll be there. And I think, Kenny, that we're going to see more and more people go to this. And so it's going to be a great thing. Unfortunately, there's a conflict going on there, but with another major manufacturer's event. So you might have to send half your people to Europe and half the people to the other event. But I think, Kenny, and I'm not an accountant, but I don't like paying taxes, but I would think that this would be something that you could write off. Because it's a business trip. You bring your wife over. You park her on the Champs-Elysees while you're going to Moulin Rouge with the boys. And it's all on Uncle Sam's dime. I don't think it gets a whole lot better than that.
Well, you did really well by the pronunciation. That little street always gives me trouble. I probably haven't said it right yet, 100 tries. But you're right. I see, but on the fun side of it, that is certainly enormous. What a great city. But I think you learn so much when you hear applications from people in India, in Europe, different countries dealing with different solutions. England, UK, they've used enormous amounts of EasyIO's controllers because it's BMS in a box. So you have people that really are going to work, going to their as service industry, as DDC industry. They're taking these controllers and they really and truly are one of their number one solutions across that small building. You race to the small space area, and to hear these success stories, just and some of how they overcame certain engineering challenges. There's a sharing going on there that it's very important for integrators to have broader prospects and to understand that you're not in this alone. And if you network and communicate and get involved in the communities, this whole thing accelerates quicker because of the collaboration. It exponentially advances things when you get more people doing the same thing.
Well, no, you do, Kenny. And again, so that part's going to be great. But Paris, we stopped there last year on the way to Madrid. You remember the time we had, and I tell you what, it was wild. And if I can find some footage of this, Kenny, I'll put it up. But you and I are out walking along the Seine River, and we started hearing that we thought the USC marching band was down there playing on the Seine, remember? And we go down there, and apparently the big thing in Paris now, these guys get together, and girls, and it's like a marching band. They're playing all this really funky American marching music, and there was like 2 or 3 of those guys playing there. It was 2 or 3 groups playing. It was phenomenal. And remember, we found we stayed at Hotel du Globe over on the left bank, and we went across that little bar, and it was an American expat there that was running the bar. Man, we got to go back and see him. We got to talk to Mad Mike about that. That was just so friggin' cool. And man, dude, you and I went where Hemingway, Picasso, Stromquist and Ken Smyers from ControlTrends. We are in Paris. We're standing in front of the Rotunda, which is where Henry Miller,
F. Scott Fitzgerald,
Ernest Hemingway, all at one time or another sat and wrote. And now Ken Smyers and I are going to go in and edit some videos. ControlTrends is in the house.
On our way to Madrid, Spain. EasyIO's annual event, and can't wait. Oh my gosh.
Can't wait.
We're
Awesome.
excited.
Awesome. All right, bon nuit. Henry Miller, all the great artists. And maybe I'll put some of that footage up too, because I took a bunch of videos, so if I ought to put it up so people could see it. And, we're sitting there in Le Dome, which is where they would go. Henry Miller, the great writer, Kenny, he would go there with no money in his pocket. He would order food and sit around until he could tell people stories, and they'd pick his tab up. But we go upstairs there, Kenny, and I'm looking, there's a Modigliani, and I'm not saying his name right. He's one of my favorite painters. He's the guy that always had the women with the long necks. He used to hang out there. There's an original Modigliani that's up there in the hallway, and that's how he paid his bar tab about 100 years ago. It's just phenomenal. Paris is, for anybody that tells you that people in Paris are rude or whatever, are totally full of bull. I mean, they were the nicest people we met on our journey. It was great times. It's just a beautiful city. And, to get to hang out with Mad Mike and the rest of the team there is just going to be I could go on, Kenny. You got to stop me, because this isn't only an
We're
hour
coming back
video.
to EasyIO. EasyIO's in 2 more posts, and this is going to kind of bleed in together. But you're right. I love your passion for it, and that's what I'm talking about. Because, again, the excitement that environment provides to you increases the level of excitement people have when they're doing innovation and putting ideas together and this collaboration. In other words, it's like energy that does it's like static energy that's in a room with a group of 50 people, and it stays constant, and just incredible things happen. In some of the derivations that we've had was the India initiative, where they've got 100 smart cities going.
Yes.
Got the funding. They've got $400 billion set aside, and they came to a meeting and they say, "Hey guys, we need some great innovation, some great ideas. We need some great manufacturers to come in and help us get this accomplished." And we've met another gentleman, Samir Pradhan.
Yes.
We met him, and to just show you how the world goes full circle, he knew the engineers that were there from India.
Yeah, they had 10 of the top engineers were there, Kenny, that are doing this project or at Easy. Hey, Kenny, quick question. Fair to say, I mean, out of all the people we deal with, and all of them are great, don't get me wrong, but it would seem to me that is EasyIO really the first one to sort of be thinking globally in terms of a platform that's available to everybody across the world? I mean, I know that some of the other vendors are doing other parts of the world, but they got different products and different groups. But it seems like EasyIO is connecting the world at our level.
It is, and I think it's the whole concept of their the iPhone thing. When Lim holds, if you go to his training, he does a great job of just saying that if you try to do something using your own individual teams and whatever, you'll get a good product, and it'll be very dependable, and within a certain parameters, it'll be very reliable, and you could make a living doing it. But the concept is to get into the biggest markets, and many of them right now are the emerging economies of Asia, where you have China, India, the Philippines, where they don't have the Western approach towards DDC and building management and automation. They expect the controllers to be as intelligent as their phones. They expect HTML5 to be a basic load inside of anything that they would buy in 2015. So I think what they're doing is EasyIO's number one, they're challenging everybody out of this, creating disruption and getting a lot of attention, because it's one product for a global market. So yes to your answer, is the answer. And two is that they encourage other people to make it a better product by using it, adding ideas, adding their applications, so that it's pushing the product forward faster. Yeah.
No, it's good stuff. And yeah, I think we better move on, Kenny, because I could talk about this a little bit more, but suffice it to say, oui, Paris, gay Paris, not heterosexual Paris. Go ahead.
Well, all right, okay. Next up, we have Distech Controls is purchased by Acuity Brands, and this was exciting. I mean, Distech has been, just like one of the silent, competitors that just gets its share. I mean, they're global, and if you go on their website, they have, they got bought out for $252 million. That's big league. So it's no longer, small potatoes. Distech was always, it was mentioned, and you always saw it in specs as a last name on it, kind of. But I'll tell you what, they must make a great product. I don't know much about them other than they're serious competitors. They were bought out by Acuity, which has a net sales of $2.4 billion in 2014, and owns a group of companies that just amazing. We were talking about lighting and Blue Ridge Technologies, and then we're seeing another lighting company they're leveraging their technology, buying a building management company, automation company makes A to Z and DDC controllers, and tell me that's not going to be they're going to go to every single one of those partners and say, let's get some synergy going here. Take a look at our lighting products, and for the lighting partners, we're going to say, take a look at our control.
Absolutely, Kenny. And I was talking with Bill Duckelberger again from Blue Ridge Technology about this. He thinks this might be a good thing. And if you think back to Ken Sinclair's collaboratory and Andy McMahon talking about lighting and the effect that lighting can have on productivity. And part of that dialogue was, well, the challenge that our integrators have is lighting is typically done in another part of the specification. So we're not getting any real true synergies or integration. So Bill was surmising that with Acuity, because they are very strong in the lighting, bringing Distech on board, we might see more of that. I mean, it seems like one of the things the industry is looking for to get synergy with building automation and integration is for lighting to be moved over in the specification, so that you're working those with the same contractors and the same engineers are putting it together to be more synergistic. So could be another big trend we're spotting. But Bill Duckelberger thought it was going to be, you used the word disruptive. He didn't use disruptive, but he thinks it's going to be interesting and might lead to more integration with the lighting and the building automation. And again, Bill came from ALCs, so he's been on the other side of that fence.
I agree, and just to talk real quickly about Acuity and now Distech being part of that building envelope. They handle all the lighting inside and outside of the building. Some of the things we talked about, light litter. I mean, to me, we're going to fix it. It's just a matter of time. And now having this kind of capability at the onset, where, like you said, it's no longer two different silos meeting in two different in an office one day where nobody had the forework done. They didn't do the homework, and they don't know how they're going to integrate it. They don't really want to integrate it. Still we have a mentality out there. I think that Michael Welsh from Control Network Solutions, in his Dolly thing, if there's one thing I come away with reading his materials is that building owners can't afford to put a one-dimensional system in where if they change tenants, their lighting's no good. The lighting no longer is controllable. It's no longer where it belongs. So you have to be able to maintain the control and service, not just what you're dealing with today, but the future. And so this, to me, means that these guys are going to future-proof buildings. If you work together with them, they're going to have an awesome presentation where they know the business well enough from both dimensions now. BAS.
I love it, Kenny. I mean, I love the going one-dimensional lighting system and future-proofing. I think those are some new vocab words here that I haven't used before. But you're really right. I mean, you can take the same system, put it in with a building automation system, future-proof it, and have it be multi-dimensional in terms of the results you can get. Again, Andy McMahon, the president of BACnet at Ken Sinclair's Collaboratory, echoed, and Mark Jewell, the sales trainer, said the same thing. Energy savings is not enough to compel CEOs and CFOs to move on. You have to be increasing productivity, and by the psychological studies of how you use your lights is one surefire way to do that. So big changes coming, Kenny. I think it's exciting times with that. Can't wait to get Bill Duckelberger and get his show going so we can talk more about this.
Agreed. All right, Eric, we've got another really great post coming up. We're going to see a little bit of shifting here as we review the 2014 ControlTrends Awards and some of the stellar products and people that we had the privilege of presenting at the Chicago AHR show. This was Johnson Controls FX Asset Tool wins big at the 2014 ControlTrends Awards. It was a very nice post that you have, but this asset tool has been, it over-delivers. It gives you an A to Z, opportunity to compartmentalize a project from the start to the end, from the quotation, the searching through the specifications to meet requirements, and all the way to the invoice to your customer. So it's an amazing product. I'm sure it came out of the branch after many, many generations, iterations of branch work. They had 100,000 applications. They finally started to compress it into a very actionable workable document that so they finally got the attention they deserved, and there was nothing cooler than to see Chris Lane come up there smiling ear to ear and take the award. And congratulations, Johnson, to Chris Eichmann and the guys. Well done.
Well, congratulations. And, of course, I was looking for Chris to do his Aaron Rodgers Distech discount double check or whatever, where he did the belt. He did that when he won Best Tech Support last year at the ControlTrends Award. So we didn't get that from Chris, but it is a marvelous product. And we are editing the videos. We shot a lot of video footage that we are beginning to get edited and posted. So Johnson Controls now has that as something they can add to their archives, as well as the fact it is on the ControlTrends website. But yeah, it's exciting times. Part of the reason we're having the award ceremony, Kenny, is so that the winners get to celebrate. And it is a great product. We have many numerous posts and training on how to use the asset tool on ControlTrends. It was a subject of a Johnson Controls Tech Talk we did earlier with Chris Lane and a couple of other folks. So be sure to check that out. Hey, if you're curious about it, if you're not already working with Johnson, reach out to your local Johnson Controls distributor. They can hook you up. They'd be glad to. And if you don't know who that is, just reach out to Kenny and me an email, controltrends@gmail.com, and we'll hook you up with your local distributor.
All right, Eric. Next up, we have Rob Allen, 7 minutes in control. KMC introduces a new router. We were on a KMC mode last week because of the training they did down at Stromquist and the introduction of a new control line. You can give us the 411 on that, but real quick on the BACnet 5050 BACnet router, KMC introduces a full BAC 5050 multi-port BACnet router, and the highlights are easy to install and configure, performs to ASHRAE standards 135-2010, and a broadcast management device. So tell us about Rob Allen's 7 minutes.
Well, Rob Allen's 7 minutes in control speaks for itself. It's awesome. But, as we have said, KMC came in, they brought their executive team in, and we shot a bunch of videos down there. Now, Kenny, I'm a little confused about this router because if you listen to 7 minutes in control, Dave Bowman is talking about the fact that it's a single-pointed router. So I'm gathering that it's maybe a little bit more economical. I asked Rob about it because I went on the website. I was trying to get some more information on it, and they actually don't have anything posted on it right now, or at least not that I could find. So we'll give you guys more details on that. But as part of their new Conquest product line offering, there's a lot that's going on with that product line, and we have more videos coming up. But suffice it to say, I think that this router, KMC is one of the companies I think is really dialed into BACnet. That's their primary protocol that their controllers and their networks talk on. So it looks like we're going to have an economical, affordable BACnet router that will fit in very, very nicely with their line of Conquest control.
Well, Eric, the KMC marketing folks, they delivered their, they came out, now it's on the BACnet 5050 router. They have a nice brochure now available on the website, and they use.
Let's put a link to it in show notes so people can get to it.
We'll do it. So, in a world of ones and zeros, here's one that makes sense of it all. So
those guys are pretty clever marketing wise, huh, Kenny?
They are. Well, it just shows you it's not a static event. It has to keep on going. It evolves and generates new ideas, and the competition, I don't think it's ever been as formidable and as fast. So you got to stay on your toes, and you got to come up with new ideas, and that makes the world go round.
Well, it does, and I think if for no other reason, check that video out because you get an opportunity to see Dave Bowman from KMC, and Dave is always in the running for best technical support and things like the PID award. If you talk to the folks at KMC, they just speak the world of Dave. So you get a chance to get to know him a little bit through this video, and I'm sure he'll be in the running next year for the aforementioned categories.
I'm sure he will. He's a very bright guy. He's the real thing too. I think a physicist, engineer, one of the scary types, like Bill.
Kind of like a cross between a rocket scientist and a professional skateboarder, right?
Yeah, I've heard some great stories about when we don't know what to do, we go ask Dave.
Yeah.
All right, Eric. Next up, we have Lynxspring offers 4 conversion options to take Niagara R2 to Niagara AX. And for those people in the Niagara community, Tritium has given fair notice that the R2 support is going away. Niagara was immediately successful, so the revision 1. R2 is actually the second revision of the Niagara soft framework, and it was replaced by AX, and we're awaiting the impending release of Niagara 4.0, and that's going to be introduced in April in England. But I think Lynxspring, some of the reasons why they're so successful is there's some heavy lifting involved when you get into transitioning from an existing protocol platform with all the changes in Microsoft and all the changes. We've all come to expect that you're not going to get through 10 years without some sort of upgrades, and you're not going to get through all the advances. So in order to maintain your highest level of security, you're going to have all the Java, you're going to have Adobe, you're going to always update and upgrade. So Lynxspring has been involved in hundreds of R2 to AX conversions. They made it quick and easy to migrate from R2 to AX. The Lynxspring Niagara R2 replacement program offers you a choice of 4 conversion options that deliver high-performance solutions that meet the challenges of today's more advanced facilities with increased capacity to handle more connectivity, more integration, more interoperability, delivering high return on investment for you and your customers. And that comes out of Marc Petock's office. He's the Vice President of Marketing at Lynxspring and Connex Energy.
Well, hey, a special shout out to Marc Petock. And Kenny, I wanted to dispel a couple of rumors right now. Those of you who are on ControlTrends or LinkedIn or any of the social media sites that we're involved in got bombarded with about 2,000 or 3,000 emails or LinkedIn posts or whatever last week. Many of you have thought it was Marc Petock or Billy the Kid Rios who hacked into the ControlTrends website and did this. I want to categorically deny that that's true. Mark could hack our system, as could Billy the Kid Rios or probably anybody else if they wanted to. But it was an unfortunate incident. It was a little hiccup of WordPress. So for all those people that were bombarded with emails, and to our people on LinkedIn, Google Hangouts, and all my Twitter followers who got 10,000 tweets in an hour, I want to apologize. It was a glitch in the WordPress. We've got it fixed. But again, it's a little embarrassing. Feel bad about that. But Marc Petock and Billy the Kid Rios are in no way, shape, or form responsible. Although people are kind of wondering if maybe Fred Gordy was behind this. But I don't think he was either. I think it was just a hiccup on WordPress. And I think we've got that.
You're going to get us in trouble now. I'll tell you. You don't want to say Billy Rios again because he has a program. Probably the third time you say his name, he automatically starts recording you and digging into your C drive.
No, Billy the Kid Rios. I mean, I'm a fan. What are you talking about? We got to meet him. He is one bad hombre, but he's wearing a white hat. He's kind of like the cyber hacker that the FBI brings in to keep everybody else safe. So I'm a big fan. I mean, me too. So would love to get Billy on the show. And then same thing with Fred Gordy, man. We've been missing that guy, man. We hadn't seen him in a while, so I'm going to track Fred Gordy down next week. We got to get him back on because obviously, I mean, bigger than Target getting hacked, bigger than Amazon getting hacked. Who are some of the people who thought had been hacked?
Well, everybody. Let's see. The biggest have been all your retailers, Home Depot.
Yeah. Well, they are big, Kenny, but the biggest to date was ControlTrends getting hacked. I mean, those others just pale in comparison. So, but hey, it is a good reminder that the internet security trend that Kenny and I are been following is alive and well. So again, we've talked a lot about different solutions with that. One of them being Marc Petock, Lynxspring, and the CyberPro, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. So, all right, Kenny. Again, my apologies, and let's just move on from here.
Gotcha. Next up, Eric, we have the EasyIO wins Plant Controller of the Year at the 2014 ControlTrends Awards. Congratulations to EasyIO. This is the third consecutive year they've won it. So you know that Gordon Chen, Mike Marston, SK Fu, Lim, these guys are doing something right. And again, it's worldwide. So we're talking, again, outside the North American market, we're talking, global, Europe, Asia, Australia, South Africa. So huge product. And here's why. The FG32 has 2 ARM processors on board. SD card that can provide massive history storage. It supports BACnet. It has a server client. It has a Modbus server client, all the web services, and it fills a gap between the area controller and the supervisor. the web controller. It has HTML5 graphics. It's iPad friendly. And we could just keep going on. So please see the poster and see why EasyIO, we stole the features of that controller because you got some very, very strong engineering, and you have the CPT tool, which we have.
Yeah, well, we got an update on the system, the Beast from the East, and what can you say? Paris in the fall. Somebody wrote a song, no, it's Paris in the springtime.
All of them, right?
I took one of my wives before I married, took her to Paris in the springtime, man. Paris is just a rocking city, Kenny. But it's a great product. The Beast, I think they had the Beast from the East, the Mega Beast, and now I think it's like Godzilla. I don't know what they're going to call the next one, but, these guys aren't standing still, Kenny, which I think is sort of indicative of maybe what it takes to be successful in today's ever-changing market, and they're all over it. And, sort of speaking of that, Kenny, I want to just you kind of go off target here a little bit because, part of what you and I are always doing for ourselves and our community at ControlTrends is looking for potential threats. And I see a huge threat to life as we know it. And it's not a better controls technology necessarily, Kenny. It's the VFRs, the variable refrigerant systems, which essentially, if I'm understanding correctly, and I'm not an expert on it, so if anybody out there is, would really appreciate you reaching out and comments. But it essentially replaces control systems and air handling units as we know it, Kenny. It eliminates the need for the controllers as we know it. It eliminates the need for a lot of the sensors. It eliminates the needs for the valves and the actuators. And Kenny, it just seems like with all the great companies we have, like the Honeywells and the Johnsons and the EasyIOs, the Distechs, the Lynxsprings, the KMCs. Are we going to get to the point with this technology that controls aren't going to be necessary? Everybody I've talked to says it's a legitimate threat, and they say that the market's increasing, at least on the new construction side. So would be very interested in people's comments about it, because I think that's probably the biggest threat we have coming to our industry right now. Agree, disagree? What do you think?
I think it's a trend. The concept, variable refrigerant flow or control, I did a little bit of reading on it. It was introduced by Daikin, I think, in 1987, and it has its fan base, and it's growing, but it's had some engineering setbacks. There's just like anything else with if you have a single point of distribution, you have a single point of failure. You don't have any backups. A lot of people don't like to have one flow controlling this entire building. I talked to a couple of really good contractors, and on certain ones, and certain manufacturers, because now it's it's almost all Japanese. You had Daikin, Fuji, Mitsubishi. Oh gosh, I can't even think of them all, but there's 7 of them, and they all were really the leaders in the technology. Now you've got Trane's involved, Johnson York's involved, so you can see. And of course, what happens is it'll get better and better. So some of the challenges that were initially experienced on large deployments, they learned from those mistakes, or they learned from those challenges, and they're improving it. But the contractors that I know and deal with, they say it's application specific. There's certain times where it works and it's the right call, and there's certain times where it doesn't work. And so it's not going to overwhelm and take over the market, I don't think, anytime soon. It'll get its share, and as more manufacturers make more versions of it and they get that scalability, then it's probably going to continue to be successful. But I think, again, pointing the finger at Daikin being the leader, one of the world leaders in HVAC equipment, and as we saw with the Rebel rooftop unit, and that to me is a greater challenge to our business as usual than the being superseded by one deployment of application.
Well, I think from what I'm picking up, and that's good to hear. From what I'm hearing, they work well. I think we're going to see them on new construction. So I think the threat is not going to be an overnight thing, Kenny. I think it's going to be the type of thing that if that technology keeps going, you're going to see more and more new construction, which basically means there's going to be a harder and harder retrofit for us. I think there's going to be still opportunities for us to do retrofits on system for years to come. The market just might get smaller. So don't know.
I agree with you that a lot of our sustained business is aftermarket replacement.
Yeah.
After came in on OEM equipment, or the local parts guys that can help you replace it immediately, do your warranties and support. They give you a layer of engineering support, give you a layer of technical support, but more importantly, we help migrate systems so that when first was deployed, 5 years later, you got this, and this, and,
right.
and these things go back after so many uses. After 600,000 cycles, things start to break down. We provided those local support things so you could pick it up this morning or whatever. And so you're right. The fewer components that go into equipment, or the more OEM controlled components that go to equipment, the least it lowers our opportunities in the aftermarket.
Well, and I think this technology, Kenny, has been around in the East for a while. So, hey, if any of our listeners from the East are familiar with this, including Mike or the team at EasyIO, please reach out in comments. Let us know what you think. How much of a threat is this? Am I overreacting to it? How is it going to affect the controls world as we know it? Let's get something going on that. And if you have some expertise in that domain, we'd love to have you on the show to talk about it. So, but again, suffice it to say, congratulations to EasyIO. Those guys are quick, they're nimble, they're innovative, and they're a lot of fun to hang out with. Did I mention they're having a worldwide conference in Paris this year, Kenny?
I think we talked about that. But we have to transition to the next post, which is EasyIO's Mike Marston demos FG's CPT graphics, and this is something that is very. It's on the website. It's a 13 or 14 minute video, and it shows you how easy it is to initiate graphics with the CPT tool. So the package is supplied a zip file. Extracting the zip file will create the file structure. Note, all the files need to be located in the same folder in order for the CPT to run correctly. But it's a executable file. It does not require installation. So another really good post from EasyIO's Mike Marston. You can see Mike's passion for what he does. I always, as we get more experience and get older here, we tend to see people kind of, lose their passion for the work that they do. These guys increase their passion for what they do. These guys are excited so when you watch the videos, you're looking at a guy that's got 30 plus years in the business, learning new tricks and teaching new tricks. So it's
they really are, Kenny. And then again, like you said, in the controller and with the CPT tool, you've got graphics right there. Again, the race to the small space, which Kenny and I've, called a while back and been sort of tracking that. And so you got EasyIO just, I think, cemented their position even more because it's affordable. If you got a small space, these guys can put it in. Now you got a graphics package there. And they're also doing something with Splunk in terms of deploying the data too. Kenny, that Mike sent us something on. I don't know, have that off the top of my head, but we'll talk about that next week. Maybe we'll get Mike on. We need to get Mike back on the show again to talk about some of these things. So let's do that. But so the race to the small space continues. So you got them, KMC's got a very strong offering now with the race to the small space with their Conquest controller line to the point, Kenny, and we'll have a video on that in the next week or two, to the point that some of their dealers now are going to users and talking about the very, very small space where it was not affordable to have building automation controls. And they're going, hey, we'll put a system in for you for free if you give us a service contract for 3 or 4 years. So that's changing the game. And then, of course, you got the sort of the usual suspects that have been playing in a while. Honeywell with their Red Link, which is a very strong contender. InTouch Controls is a very strong player. So you got the thermostat people that have been playing there for a while. And now on top of that, Kenny, you got EasyIO with a strong offering, KMC. So the race to the small space. And I think KMC showed us a stat when they were down that 7 million buildings in the U.S. do not have any form of energy management. But now they're smaller buildings, 20,000 square feet and less. And now they're going to have energy saving solutions where it just makes sense for them to go ahead and do it. So that's, I think, the next big frontier, Kenny, and which sort of gets back to, would that variable refrigerant be an easier retrofit than a control system? Don't know. But, anyway, I sort of digress or progress. I'm not sure. Sometimes I do both at the same time. So let's move on to the next
alternating
post.
Current. There we go. The next post, we have a Siemens post where we have Siemens MD Energy Meters sales training video. And I'm working closely with a gentleman named Seth Wald, who's our Great Lakes Regional Sales Territory Manager. And, they're delighted. They're coming off the 2014 ControlTrends VFD Award with the BT300, which basically takes VFDs to the next level of efficiency. everybody knows Siemens. It's one of the most recognized global companies in the world, out of Munich, I believe, Germany. You and I might have to go from Paris to Munich and say hello to Siemens, right?
Yep.
But I'm kidding there a little bit. But they've the engineers at Siemens have retooled and field tested the VFD portfolio to ensure its optimal results from 0 to 250 horsepower VFDs. Well, guess what? Now Siemens is in energy meters, and they do a really good job with the presentation. So here we go with social media. We have video, digital media that really brings you to understand what energy meters do. And Lord Kelvin, they use some of his incredible, laws of physics, just like Newton. He came up with certain things he said, but he said you can't make progress without measurement. You have to have baselines, and the whole concept of Kelvin was that you get your zero baseline and then you measure, so that when you impact, you change variables, then all of a sudden that measurement changes, and that's where you make progress. So these meters are all about bringing the best technology now in metering to us at our level. So a lot of the times these things were for industrial applications. It was great technology, but it wasn't affordable. It was just too expensive. And everything's a game of numbers when it comes down to it. You have good, better, best. So we're now seeing these meters available to us that just, it just, if you put them on, it has a display module, you connect, it doesn't make it overly difficult. Kenny, I got to tell you, it's a great looking meter. You're right; it's easy to install, but it's also a custody grade transfer meter. So I mean, it's the highest standard meter you can get. So I think it's cool. My question for you is: the Siemens VFD rocks and rolls. You sell a lot of them. We sell a lot of them. How cool would it be if Siemens put together a package where they offered one of these sub meters to go with your VFD, so you can monitor the savings? Do you think that would go over well? Oh, I like that idea, but different manufacturers do that. They couple the things like Tico Westinghouse does it with motors and VFDs. Right. If you buy the VFD and the motor together on the same project, they extend the warranty and I believe in that whole concept too. That if you're going to make a serious approach to improve your energy savings, you've got to put monitors on there. You got to put meters on there to prove you did it. And then when you do that, it just simply does all the explaining for you. All of a sudden now you can, if you have problems with your power, if you have bad, we've seen different problems where everybody's pointing a finger at everybody else. Well, these things kind of bring their monitor and everything. It's got more features probably than you really will ever use in the HVAC applications, but it's there. So that just shows you how they've got economies of scales now, and they can give you a lot more. They over-deliver and underprice the products, and it's going to create more usage. And then when you learn this information, because you're measuring, you're monitoring, and then you manage, you're going to get those great energy savings and operational savings.
Well, you are. And, of course, a lot of the LEED standards or Energy Star standards require that you document your savings, so this works. And Siemens is a member of Controls Group North America, which Kenny and I are both members of, CGNAcontrols.net. So if you want to, get some pricing on one of these products, which we highly encourage you to, either the VFDs or the energy meters, you can go to CGNAcontrols.net. Find a local CGNA member, they can hook you up. They work with Siemens, so they'll give you really good pricing and great service. Check it out, and we'll be hearing a lot more from Siemens, Kenny. I think that they're on the move. They're really sort of getting some really cool products that they're bringing through the distribution side of the channel now, so we're looking forward to that.
All right, next up we have Project Haystack post. Project Haystack is going to be held May 18th through May 20th at the Cheyenne Mountain Resort in Colorado. This was another article by Marc Petock. Marc gets no sleep and it's generating one good thing after another. But Project Haystack now is starting to take on some real momentum. Everybody's talking about it. We're going to be out there, and it's exciting. I think it's exciting because you talk about the world of networking, you talk about the world of integration. These are probably the most elite group of people that I know in our industry coming together. And like Nina DeCosmo said at Tritium Niagara, when you bring great minds together and you give them tools, there's no telling what's going to happen. Well, if you have an information issue with tagging is the solution, where we can finally, really, truly, John Petsy says it the best, stop the mystery, make information available and accessible from the origin, and that way we can assure maximum, user effectiveness, maximum user efficiencies and savings.
Well, yeah, Kenny, and I think it's indicative. We've talked a little bit, not a little bit, but a good bit on Control Trends and ControlTalk Now about redefining competition, and where it's a blend of collaboration and competition. Ken Sinclair has also picked that up and is talking about it as well. And this is a great example of companies that are coming together that compete with each other on a day-to-day basis, but saying, look, for the sake of the user, we need to agree upon some standards, some tagging standards. So they're sort of rising above that. They're collaborating to create a better product for the end user. And then they go back and compete. So it's cool. We'll be there. We'll be covering it. It's Colorado Springs, a beautiful spot. So we will bring you some live footage of some of these celebrities. We covered it 2 years ago, the first one. So if you want to get to know some of the greats in the industry like Marc Petock and John Petsy and George Thomas and some of the others, Control Trends is a portal into that world. Hi, Big Dog.
I just wanted to to give the overview of Project Haystack. It was started in March of 2011 by a group of individuals who recognized the major unfilled need in the automation market. And that being a uniform way to make device data self-describing so that it can be easily used from different applications and maximize its value. Presently, there's over 650 people who have joined Project Haystack Forum, and the tagging libraries and open source contributions continue to grow. This, of course, is going to be another great surge in that effort, and we hope to see everybody May 18th through May 20th at the Cheyenne Mountain Resort in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Sounds great, Kenny. What do we have up next, Big Dog?
Well, Eric, I'll tell you, it's befitting. We have Lynxspring CyberPro wins the Innovative Product of the Year.
Oh, yes.
And, I'll tell you, well, first of all, we had Jim Hayman and Scott Cochran there on stage, along with our other amazing people. But those are two
presenters, yeah,
two stellar guys. Jim Hayman's the business operative of CG&A. And Scott Cochran is one of the most successful distributors.
Well, let me give you Scott Cochran's title, just so you know, Kenny. He's a very successful distributor, but his real title in life, he is a man, the myth, the legend in training. Okay, give him another 10 years and he'll be on par with you, maybe.
Oh, I think Scotty Cochran, I ask him questions, and for as young and precocious as he's always been, he grew up in the business fast, quick, and he was very, very talented technically, so he got it, and then he put the technical challenges to use in a business, environment. In fact, he came down and did a briefing down in your area, neck of the woods, and you were telling me how he's redefined how owners should look at points and look at investments. The conventional way of doing it is not on the market. It's in the target area, but it's not in the 10. So he helps to I think elucidate what we're trying to do and what are the ways to do it, and then why you do it. And it's about doing more for less and getting maximum value out of the money you spend on your stuff. And treat everything like an asset. He's a big asset guy. Everything's an asset. You should be investing in sustaining your assets instead of trying to shortchange yourself. By shopping and by doing different things that lead to fumbles and miscommunications and lack of integration, and making the integration very expensive.
Well, Scott's a trendsetter. I mean, if you really want to know what's going on, Scott doesn't think like everybody else. He's a trendsetter. His calls up to now have been right on. And, of course, Scott also was the one, and a special shout out to Marc Petock and our co-host of the 2014 ControlTrends Awards, Miss Kimberly Brown, who works with Scott. So did Kim do a fantastic job or what, Kenny?
She did. I think she maintained the balance. We see sometimes that the HVAC and automation industry tends to be heavy-handed to the male side of it, and it's our fault for not bringing the spotlight to the other talented half of our HVAC, and that's the females and the women. They're every bit as intelligent and proactive, and on stage she didn't need. She just took over when it was her turn. She really delivered.
She did great.
Great
Marc Petock really enjoyed working with her, so hopefully we can get Kim to come back and she can become a fixture at the ControlTrends Awards because she did a great job. So, Kim, if you're listening, thanks again for the fantastic job. And with that, Kenny, I'm thinking, man, there's some green beer in your very near future. What do you think?
I think we have to wrap up the Lynxspring CyberPro real quick.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Yep.
It was the 2014 winner, and it was the, let's see here, I lost my page there.
It was Innovative Product of the Year, Kenny.
It was Innovative Product of the Year, but I'll tell you why. Lynxspring CyberPro is the industry's first cyber threat protection solution designed specifically to enhance the cyber protection of commercial building automation and energy management systems. And we have a great link there, but what it does is it simplifies when you're dealing with so much challenges in our industry. There's nothing more calming to the integration mind than knowing there's products out there ready for deployment, ready to be used to take care of things. So basically, the CyberPro reinforces perimeter defense, creates additional layers of continuous protection and prevention for the devices and systems across the building network by securing, managing, controlling, tracking, and monitoring account access and activity. So it's a very important product. So what I'm trying to say is that congratulations to Lynxspring and the CyberPro because they brought a solution readily available to integrators, so at least you have some baseline to start taking actions and knowing that it's the corrective action, it's the right action.
What is, Kenny, and I think there's a simplicity to it, that an elegance. I don't mean simplistic. Well, it is simplistic, but it's elegant. So among other things, what it does, Kenny, is that port that data comes in and out of the building. So if your system, it normally stays open 100% of the time, which allows these robots and all to find an open port and then just start hacking away to try to get in. So one of the things the CyberPro does very elegantly, Kenny, is it keeps that port closed unless somebody with credentials is trying to get out or get in. So if your system is goes into alarm, it needs to get some information out, the port will open up and allow that data out, and then it closes right back down again. So you're denying access. And the cost point on this and the cost to maintain it is very, very inexpensive. So, yeah, to me, it is enormously innovative, very, very effective. And I'd love to get Mark or George Hawkinson or one of those guys to come on, maybe do a Lynxspring cyber tech talk on that, so that the community can become more aware of this marvelous product, because it really is very cost effective and very effective. So Marc Petock, if you're listening, could we get a Lynxspring CyberPro? Maybe we do an online open training session on that, where we can invite the entire worldwide ControlTrends community in to check that out. I bet our friends in India would be very fascinated with that product as well, Kenny.
Yeah, no, in the meantime, you got a real nice post that you did with George Hawkins. Real Show, where he did a nice demonstration.
On it for sure. So, all right, Kenny Smyers. Well, again, now, my question for you, is there some green beer in your near future?
Well, I have to tell my wife, she's unfortunately got a prior commitment, but I have to act like I'm working. But yeah, there's a couple.
Looks like you spilled some on your shirt already.
Oh, I'll tell you what, this is my green shirt. I wear it once a year or twice a year, and still fits, so that's cool. And yeah, I'm going to go. We used to go to the parade. Honestly, God, when I was younger, because it's just all about Pittsburgh, the sports teams. Yeah. The industries, the beer companies are given, there's a cordoned area, so it's just a lot of fun. I need it. Right about now, I'll tell you what, with snow, we've had torrential downpours here, and 3 feet of snow is evaporated, or not evaporated.
Nice.
It's melted, and now we've got that's that time of year, so I'm very excited. When St. Patrick's Day comes along, that means about a month from now, we'll be able to go out there and walk around like human beings and hit the golf balls.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks to Rob Allen for our new intro. So you can find us on the podcast in the iTunes store, on Stitcher, and various other places, SoundCloud. The best place to find the video is on YouTube and, of course, ControlTrends.org. So that's it. Another week of control news you can use for the week ending March 15th, 2015. I'm Eric Stromquist. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Have a great week, and we will see you again soon. And remember, stay in control.
That was premature. Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers. Have a great week, buddy.
You too. Thanks.